Hey everybody, this is Stacy with SF Johnson Consulting and Construction Services. And in this module 1, we're going to talk about project management and your basic cores and your responsibilities. And that's very important because now a lot of you guys are out there as self-performers and you want to learn how to do your estimating, but this is job 1. Knowing how to manage your project saves you a lot of time, trouble, effort, and keeps you working for other people. So let's talk about the 4 key responsibilities for a project manager, and we'll go into more detail. If you are part of my project management courses for either of the trades, this is part of your course study, and there will be quizzes for you on Construct IQ. So what are the 4 different responsibilities? Well, we have some that we pinpoint for 4 stages within our project. So pre-construction, that's pre-con, the execution phase, the communication phase, and the closeout phase. And so let's talk about a little bit about each one and what I think is vital. So when you take this class, you will be able to understand the full scope of what a project manager's responsibilities are. You'll be able to identify the key documents that you will use to help you guide you in this effort, and that is very important. You're going to learn how project managers manage the cost, the manpower, which is important, materials, and the quality of the work, and you will also be able to recognize how you, as a project manager, should interact with all the project stakeholders. What are stakeholders? Anybody that has a stake in the project being successful, that's a stakeholder. So the owner, the general manager, you, all the subs, okay? And so what are the core project management responsibilities and duties? And if you are one of my students, it'll be in your individual study page, but I want you to pick out one of your current projects. And I want to see a timeline. If you haven't already done it, I want you to start immediately working on each of these 4 levels. Okay, so pre-construction. What do? We get together as a group and we review the contract. Why do we review the contract? Well, we need to know. And project management means you're supposed to manage that project. And so in the contract, it should tell you everything you need to know, or it should put up some red flags because the things you need to know are not there. Okay, so in pre-construction, we review the contract and the specifications and the plans. Yes, the specifications and the plans. The contract tells us, what's the price, what are we doing in detail, and we look at the contract so we know when are we going to get paid, what do we have to do, what hoops do we have to jump through in order to get paid, and most importantly, you guys, look in the contract for who and what happens when there are delays. When there are change orders, how do they process the change orders? That's where you guys are losing money, and you're just forced to be nice to these GCs because there is no protocol. There is no, okay, this is happening, boom, we do step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, so that's why you want to review that contract. Again, review that contract for the money and time issues. Money, when am I going to get paid? What do I have to give you in order to get a draw and get paid? What happens for change orders? What is the procedure for a change order? If there is a delay in the project, who's responsible? What do I do if it's on you? What do you do if it's on me? But those questions have to be answered before you work. Okay, contract. Specs are the written words that go with the construction documents. And so it's going to tell you the means and methods and procedures, submittal information, all of that stuff will be in your specifications. Issues related to material, going to be in the specifications. Okay, and then the plans. Yeah, you got to know how to read a set of plans. You have to be able to go from plan view, section view, detail view, and make sure you have a full understanding of the scope of work. This is all pre-construction. Okay, so once you've reviewed the contract, the specs, the plans, you want to build a baseline schedule. Okay, so take a look at it. basically we've gotten our estimate together, baseline schedule. You can't do a schedule unless you have your estimate together. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot complete an accurate estimate, man-hour estimate based on construction industry standards unless you have a standardized way of determining man-hours. You're guessing. I know you're guessing because I'm teaching a lot of people who are guessing. And it's okay to guess up until a point where guessing doesn't work, and guessing never works. You're lucky when you guess and you get a project, then you get into it, and then you realize, man, I didn't make any money. Yeah, because you guessed. And again, if you're always getting the jobs, you're too low. If you're never getting the jobs, you're too high. So there's somewhere in between you need to be. And really, this is just like math. Okay, this is a project. Here's a set of architectural plans based on math and money. I need to be able to look at that and determine how much is that. And not only how much is it for me to perform that scope of work, how long is that going to take? And I've been beating myself in the head trying to explain the difference between a man-hour estimate and your crew rate. How does that relate? Oh, I'm only charging the base rate. Yeah, because that's what we do. And so when we get into the class, I help explain that to you more. Okay. So identify, review the contract, specs, plans, build your baseline schedule, meaning you have to have your estimate done. Okay. You can't produce a schedule unless you have an estimate. Okay. And then you coordinate with that estimator to confirm your scope. Okay, so that's all pre-construction, 3 steps: review contract specs and plans, build the baseline schedule, and coordinate with your estimator to confirm the scope. Now, a lot of you guys out there, owners and estimators at the same time in admin, it doesn't work. Okay, it only wears you out and gives you burnout. And this will be my 16th year, and I think I've gotten burnout twice, probably like my 8th year and just last year. So it happens. So you got to make sure you can't be the estimator and the on-site project manager and the admin person. You can't be good cop and bad cop. And if you're making money, then you have resources to take care of that. Now, people that are just new, barely making it, whatever, you really can't afford not to be really good with your estimates, because you can't go 1 or 2 years or just taking what somebody wants to give you, because lowballing is what you have to do to keep your head above water. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to learn how to do your own estimates. Okay, and it's easy to do. And now my Construct IQ app is finally up and running. You'll see some ads on that. You log in, everything is there, from the videos of my explanations of everything to quizzes you can take and man-hour calculators. So that'll be great. All right, so pre-construction, that's what we do. In the execution, what is the PM's job in terms of execution? Okay, and this is the hardest part if you are the person that wears all the hats. This is the hardest part. Okay, pre-construction is 1, 2, execution, part 2. What do you have to do as the project manager? Okay, you have to track man hours, okay, and crew efficiency. That's why you cannot be good cop and bad cop at the same time. These people that work for you can't be your cousins and your uncles, because they have no respect when it comes to hustling and bustling. Okay, you're my cousin. Oh, take it easy on me. Where somebody that don't know you, people you have worked for, do they care? No, they don't. Okay? And so you have to be able to, in the execution phase, you have to be able to track your man hours and your manpower and their efficiency. If you have 4 people on the job, okay, each one of those 4 individuals should give you 7.5 to 8 hours a day. So what does that mean? That means that every day, when you're looking at your paperwork, you should be chopping off, 32 hours of those total man hours off of your job every day. If you got 4 people, if you got 5, it's more. You see how that's supposed to work? And so the execution phase is making sure bros ain't just out there smoking cigarettes and having a good time on your 7.5 hours. Okay? Manage material deliveries. This is the execution phase. When are we getting material drop-offs? What day? Who's verifying it? Who's signing for it? Who's taking a picture? Where is it going to be placed? Okay, all of those things. Okay. Issue requests for information and manage submittals. Know your timelines. Your specifications are going to give you all the timelines you need for all of these things. The request for information, timelines, the submittal timelines and procedures, all of that will be in your specifications, okay? And the execution, coordinate with your subcontractors. Make sure you know every day, having those toolbox talks in the morning, making sure everybody knows today we're expected to do blank. Make sure it's done, take pictures, verify, make people sign for stuff. Okay, execution phase. Third phase is the communication phase. This is the worst phase I think we have among the bros out there, because everybody wants to be a bro. You don't want to make nobody upset. You don't want to get the GC mad because he may not call you back to a job that he's already ripping you off for. Okay, unnecessary. Communication, daily contact with your field foreman. I work for an insurance company and those people didn't give a damn. Okay, nobody should give this is business, this is not friendship. Okay, so daily contact with field foreman. Okay, this is our plan today. How you doing? Okay, yeah, whatever. Keep home at home, because if you have serious issues, then you don't need to be at work, because it's too dangerous to be a contractor with personal issues. Now, weekly reports to the owner, to the GC, to you, report, because if people think they got to report to you, they're going to do what they're supposed to do. Simple as that. Update logs, okay, requests for information, change orders, submittals, there should be logs. And I prefer, and I was doing this, I've been in business 16 years, I was doing it 16 years ago. I would recommend, because I could do it, for your clients, let's build a nice website for them that shows them your daily activity, all the contact information, the stuff they got now, right? Construct Connect and all that stuff. Okay, I was doing that way back then. Okay, so yeah, you need to have a central location where you have all the requests for information. You have all the change order information, the dates, the approvals, the amounts, all the estimates, all the submittals, all the everything, all the inspection information. All of that should be central to one spot, one location. Should be somebody that is the monitor of that stuff, and it should be monitored and updated on a daily and weekly basis. And really, project management is you managing the project from the resources, right? The people, the material, to the actual work. We have a project schedule. We need to be on point. When things happen unexpectedly, yes, so there should be a procedure for that, project manager. You are able to manage the resources, the risk, the individuals, okay, the communications. You should be able to manage every aspect of that. And if you have to be a part of that, then how do you manage it too? If you are actually out there busting it out for 8 hours yourself, how are you making sure everybody else on all the different sites and different locations are doing what they're supposed to do? So really, you need to either be a worker or you need to be a project manager, because you can't be that and the salesperson and the bad cop and good cop and everything else. You just can't do it. It's not possible. And to do it efficiently. All right, so that's communications. Got to have it daily, weekly. And where you have it, people can go review it and see it, and it's readily available. And then last thing, when you're a project manager, on the closeout, okay? Submit warranties, okay? Walk the project with the owner, okay? Make sure everything is right. Ensure that the punch list is completed. Make sure there is one, that you're taking care of that on the front end of the closeout. And then final billing and all of that. Everything that goes with the closeout, owner, project manager, making sure that the final product is what we said it was supposed to be in the beginning. And I would like to add, as part of the closeout for the individual construction company, okay, once it's done and everybody's happy and you've done your part for the owner of the GC, you need to sit down as a company and say, okay, our original estimate was, 138,000 and it was going to be 10 weeks. Well, it ended up being 150,000 and 40 weeks or something stupid. You have to be able to go back and see where the mistakes were made. And really, the one thing we really need to be good at, to be an estimator or project manager or anybody that has to be responsible for looking over numbers and making sure that what they are, you got to kind of be good in math. My numbers have to be important to you. You have to feel comfortable with the numbers. So yeah, get in there, read the specifications. You got to be good with reading, okay? Get in there, read the specifications, take notes. Get in there and take apart your scope of work and be able to create a very detailed takeoff. Your HVAC, you got the straight runs, you got the 90s, you got the 45s, you got the branches, you got the reducers, you got the grills, you got every component that goes to each of the pieces of equipment. It's numbered, it's down there, from construction industry standards and dealing with Stacy and learning from me, exactly how many man hours are associated with each piece of that equipment. And then really that's the only way. That is the only way that a grown-up is going to be able to determine how long a job's going to take, how many people you're going to need. And then all that other stuff, once you start, you just got to be able to manage the risk. Make sure, you're doing what you're supposed to do and manage every day. Okay? You got a 20-day project. Well, day one, you should be 1/20th finished. And if you're not, why not? Okay? And so my project management is important. Okay, it either makes you money or it loses you money. It helps you retain your employees because you're constantly keeping them working because you know what you're doing. Every day is going to be filled with what you say it is. And when there are mistakes, you're able to account for those too. So what are the core responsibilities? We have 4 levels. Pre-construction phase has a level, which is, again, reviewing the contract specs and plans. Build baseline schedule and coordinate with your estimator to confirm that scope. That's your pre-construction duties. Once you're into the project, your execution duties, track the manpower hours, and your crew's efficiency. Okay, you got 8 guys there. You should be able to knock out a whole lot of hours each day off of your construction schedule. Okay, execution, track manpower, hours, and crew efficiency. Manage material deliveries. That's very important because once the material is missing and you don't have a way to track it, there's your profit right there down the damn drain. Okay, so yeah, track everything as if somebody's gonna rob you. Okay, that's just how it goes because chances are somebody might. Right? Execution, issue those requests for information on a timely manner, in a timely way, and manage also the submittals as the specifications tell you. It'll be in there. Okay, in execution, definitely coordinate and manage your subs. Okay, communication, that's number 3, the most vital, I think. You got to have the daily contact with those folks to let them know that, yeah, I'm up on it, and today you should be done with whatever. Okay, you have to have them give you weekly reports, photographs, daily journal entries on how the day went and any problems they may have encountered. Because those problems may just, I'm too busy, I don't think about it. But if you wrote it down for the day in the daily construction journal, we know when it pops up 2 weeks from now, you'll be good. All right, so all those logs and then close out. Just make sure you got everything closed out, and then have a company communication on how we did. Were we on time? Did we keep with the construction schedule? When did we keep with our procedure for the submittals? Did we keep with our procedure for the change orders? And make sure you have those. All right. So this is Stacy, Project Management. Hope to see you soon in my class, and thanks a lot.